Good morning, everyone. I just saw a guy on YouTube on completely steroids, and he taught me this. And about four other videos taught me this. That we have I always heard what oxytocin was, but I didn't know what it was. I just knew that it existed in our brains. So, this makes sense a lot more to me now of why I don't really get enjoyment from receiving things or giving things. When I give something to someone, um, it almost feels like I wasted my money. Like I could have done something better with it. Certain people release very little oxytocin, and some release a large amount, and some release none. I would say 1%. I release about 1% oxytocin. And you're, and that's usually when I'm in a relationship and it's after I have sex. Um, but I know for a fact I do not release a lot of oxytocin. My grandma, on the other hand, she does. My mom, she does. My sister, she does. My other sister, not very much. My older sister, not very much. Which is interesting because I wonder, because my dad doesn't release it. Like if he buys us Christmas presents, I'd say just like me and just like my older sister, he releases about 3% oxytocin. Like he'll get joy from it, but only for a few seconds. Um, you may have this. Like the scientist guy said 5% of the world does not produce any oxytocin. I do produce some, but very, very little for a short amount of time. It's really interesting because when you see a girl who dates a bad guy and he just has to either have sex with her or say nice things to her, that's someone who produces lots of oxytocin, and they're easily tricked. They're easily wowed. They're easily manipulated. Now, here's the difference between someone who produces barely any and someone who produces a lot. The person who produces a lot is usually the person who buys you presents on Christmas. Like the person who always will buy you a present no matter what, no matter if you don't talk to them very much. The big oxytocin. Because one, they feel reward for giving things to other people. Two, they feel reward and love from buying things for other people. Three, they feel love when someone hugs them. All my life, since I was a little kid, I enjoyed hugs. I'm like, oh cool, a hug. I still do. But they don't make me feel really any connection. The only way I really feel a connection to you is if you're intelligent. It's strange. It's really strange. But I value intelligence more than emotional relationship. If the person is smart, if they're logical, I like them. Is that wrong? I mean, oh, this explains so much now. I'm going to name this video, Do You Release Oxytocin? Do you? I used to call it Oxytocin because I'm dyslexic. Oxytocin. Oh, and this morning I electrified my water so it would make me more hyper and more energetic. So I learned yesterday, this is off topic, but it does have to do with the brain. Citrusy fruits like lemons, limes, can power things. Like actually power an iPhone. They can power if you hook wires up to them because they contain an electric charge. All fruits and vegetables do, but very little. Certain ones have a huge amount. So what did I do? I mixed food-grade hydrogen peroxide, magnet for magnetic water, and fruit, lime, and lemon. When I woke up, you know how you're drowsy when you wake up? This woke me up quite literally instantly. You know how you have to open your eyes? You don't just jump out of bed. Some people can. Well, this just made me instantly wake up. I soaked it overnight. And the strange thing is, I don't need a lot of it to feel energetic. Like normal water, we'll have to drink tons of it. Okay. Last but not least, dopamine and serotonin play a huge role in it. But because you can buy nasal spray, it's usually for women who are breastfeeding, because that's why when women breastfeed, the baby becomes attached to them, because the baby's brain is releasing oxytocin, and the woman's brain, the mom's brain, is releasing oxytocin. If the baby is not breastfed, it has less of a connection to the mother, because when it was a baby, it didn't have any oxytocin from the mother, which is really fucking hilarious, because I didn't want to be breastfed. That just gives you like the hint. Oh, he's not able to produce oxytocin, or very little amounts, so he doesn't want any. That's a big tall tale sign right there. It is. And I'm not even not happy that I don't produce it. It makes you more of a worker in a way. I mean, don't get me wrong, I do feel bad for other people if I do something bad, but not for a very long time. At all. Oh well. The only times I produce it, mostly the only times I produce, is when I accomplish something for myself, and when I accomplish a goal. Those are mostly, and when I get money. And sometimes I'm happy about being greedy. The strange thing is, certain cousins, and I won't name exact ones, and certain friends, I feel an exact, instant oxytocin release. Like certain people I am connected to. The reason I'm connected to my grandma is because when I was a little kid and I had no food at home, she would always take me out and buy me food, which would create oxytocin, which created a connection. When I was a kid, my mom would always let me not eat dinner, which wasn't smart, but she let me because she cared about me, which created oxytocin. Oxytocin, which made me a little more connected to my mom than my dad. Little things. It doesn't take much. Hugging people over and over and over again throughout time will create oxytocin in their brain, oxytocin, and they will be more connected to you. I just tested it on the dog that we're babysitting. And that could be why people are really connected to me when they see me. So it's not that you have to produce it, it's that the person has to produce it. And that's where really narcissistic, manipulative people come in. I luckily get angry when someone is manipulating another person. So I know that I do produce oxytocin, fuck. I just don't produce a lot of it. And I'm completely fine with that. As long as I produce a little amount, good. And my older sister does produce a little amount too. Sexually abused women, in their childhood, produce less. That's a scientific proven fact. Abused women from childhood produce less. And that could be why my grandma donates and does all these things for people. So after she does them, after she accomplishes them, she feels oxytocin. Makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. So I was going to try to either get a drug form of it or find something that produces a large amount of it and then attach it to the subliminal messages that I'm listening to. That way my brain will want more of it and accept it faster. Makes total sense. Like if you want to learn telekinesis and you are listening to a subliminal messages thing, which talks to your subconscious, you would want, while you're listening to that, oxytocin, if you can't really produce much of it. That way it will take less of a time because you'll make that your top priority and your brain will accept it faster. Like anything. You can find subliminals for anything. It's just time. It takes time, but it will take less time if you know how to biohack yourself. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. Dopamine, serotonin, and mostly dopamine and serotonin play a part too. But if you just had only oxytocin, because dopamine's the reward hormone. If you had, and serotonin's the happiness hormone. So when you mix all three of those things together, you are creating a attraction. But you'd want the other person to take them so they are attracted to you. That is initially why it's hard to get out of an abusive relationship, because the person will be a dick to you, and then they'll be completely nice to you. That will create oxytocin for a short amount of time, attract, and then they'll be a dick, which will make confuse, and then oxytocin, a dick, confused. That's how abuse works. Bad. Bad. Smiling will also create a micro amount of oxytocin. And the person will remember you, which is pretty cool. And that's probably why people remember me, because I smile at everyone. Just to be nice, I smile. Like, that's what I mean. I produce some oxytocin. I am not a complete zombie. Okay, bye everyone. I love you.